Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to build a Django project called link rater. Here you can add URLs, give it a name, and you can review it as you want. You can add a review with the proper rating and the content, and the rating will be calculated there based on the amount of reviews and the score that the user has given. Here are also simple authentication with login and sign up. The source code can be found in the link in the description below. The tools I'm going to use in this video is the Django framework, of course. I'm going to use Tailwind CSS for the design, and I'm going to implement a banner for consenting to use cookies on the website. This is sort of a plug-and-play consent solution from CookieBot. Anyways, let's jump right into the coding. Okay, so here's the simple to-do list for what we are going to go through today. First, we're going to begin by setting up the environment and install Django, create a project, etc. Then I want to create a base template using Tailwind. Then I want to set up authentication so we can log in and create users. Next, I want to implement a cookie banner, for example, the one that comes up from the bottom where you accept which cookies you are going to use. This is something we need here in the EU for GDPR. And then I want to create a new app for the reviews or the URLs we are going to review. Then I want to make it possible to add the URL, list the URLs, and add review for the URLs as well. So let's begin by setting up the environment. I'm going to go to the terminal, and then I'm inside the empty folder called link rater, where I only have the to-do list. So to create the environment, I just say python 3-n venv and then env. Venv stands for virtual environment, and env is just the name that I want to use because then I know that this folder is the environment. Not sure how you do this on Windows, but I think it's very similar. You can just go to Google and find it out. So when this is done, I can activate it by saying source env bin activate. Then you can see the name of the environment is prepended before the username that I'm logged into. So then I can install Django by saying pip install Django. This will install the newest and stable version of Django, at least if I had internet. Okay, let me try again. Pip install Django. So now it's installing 5.1, which currently is the newest version of Django, and few dependencies that Django has. Great. So now that this is installed, I can create an empty Django project by saying Django-admin start project, and then the name, which is in this case, will be link rater. Then I can go into this and just initialize the database by saying python manage.py migrate. So if I now run ls, I have one more file here, which is SQLite 3 database. And if I run python manage.py run server, you can go to the browser to see that this is working. 127 there, the install worked successfully. Congratulations. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back to the to-do list and set the first task to done. Next step will be to set up the base templates. So at least I want to set up the core app where I want to have the base template and the front page. So I need to create a new app for this. Python manage.py start app core. Go back to Visual Studio Code and find the settings.py, and I will need to append this to the list of installed apps, core. So I always like to have an app called core where I have pages like the index page and the about page, privacy, etc. So in here we can go into views.py to create a view for the front page. Def index request return render request, and I want to render a file called core/index.html, and I don't and I don't need to pass in anything yet. So next step then will be to create this template. So we create a new folder called templates. Django will automatically look for a folder called templates inside all of the apps that we have in the installed apps list. And in here we create a new folder called core. And the reason why we have the same name here as there is just to make it easier to separate this later. And I will show you when we create a new app why this is important. And then in here we create index.html, so index. And to keep things as clean as possible, we always use a separate urls.py file in each of the apps that we have. So in here we can say from Django.urls import path, and then we import the view that we just created from .views import index. And we want to set up something called the app name here, which is core. This is namespacing, so it's easier to separate apps from each other once more. I will show you later how this works. And then we set up the URL patterns list. So when the path is empty, we want to use the index view, and we can set the name to index. And this can easily be accessed by going to, for example, core index now, since we have the core name and the index, which is this one. So this is how you link to this page. Last but not least, we just need to import this file into the main urls.py file. So at the bottom here we can say path empty include core.urls. Make the warning here now, include is not defined. This is a shortcut from Django, not a shortcut but a function in the URLs. So include like that. So the way that this works now is that if you go to the front page of Django, it will see that it will not match this one, but it matches this one. So then Django will go into core.urls and see that it matches this one. It will load this view, and it will render this template and show it to the user. So if I now refresh, I will not see anything because we need to run the server again. And refresh, and then I see index. Nice. We don't want to have the menu and footer, etc. here in this index.html file. We want to have this in a file called base.html, that this file and the details page and similar can just extend. So I want to create one more file called base.html, base, and then at the top here we can say extends core/base.html. So if I go back now, we will see base, but we do not see index. So how can I take content from here and render inside here? To do that, we add something called a block content and block, and this name can be whatever you want. It's just easy to understand that when you call it content, it's sort of the main content of the page. And then in here we say block content as well. Hello from index and block. Save. Go back and refresh, and then this comes from index, and nothing comes from this because we don't have anything there yet. But the to-do list should now say that we're going to use Tailwind. So let's go to Tailwind CSS and find the place CDN if you're going to use, and just copy everything there from the starter template. Then go to the top here, paste it. Then I just want to fix the indentation. And this block content can be moved in there. And save. Save. So if I now go and refresh, you can see that this font changed now because that we are using Tailwind now. And you can see that the head and the body and similar comes from base.html, but the hello from index comes from there. Nice. So let's change this a little bit now. I want to have a menu on the top. So let's go to base.html and say nav class py6, which gives us space above and below the content, px12, which adds spacing on the sides of the content in here. As the background to be bg purple 700. Yes, that can work. Menu. Nice. So now you see the py6 above and below, px12 on the sides, and the bg to purple. Perfect. And I want to have these two classes around the main content as well. So main class, paste in this padding, fix the indentation like that, save, and refresh. Great. But the menu needs more than this. So on the left side, I want to have a link that goes to the front page. href can just be empty for now. Class, text 2xl, and text white and font bold. Link rater, save, refresh. Now you can see here it's bold, it is white, and the text 2xl is the font size. And when I click this, nothing happens except that the URL changes. Let's point this to the front page by using the URL function from Django. And we want to link to the page called core:index.html. Sorry, core:index. And core is the app name here, and index is this name. So this is how you use the URL from Django. If I click this now, I'll be sent to the front page and everything is back to normal. I want to have a title tag as well up here. So title, link rater, pipe, and then block title and block. Okay, copy this, go back to index.html and say welcome. Now you can see link rater and this pipe comes from base.html, while welcome comes from index.html. So now it's easy to separate these from each other and know where things comes from. On the right side here, I want link to log in and sign up. So we can fix that by going back to base.html and the div class, and the div can just be empty for now. href can be empty. Class py4 and px8. This is just spacing again. And the bg can be purple 900. Text white. Log in. And now we copy this. And rename this to sign up. And set this color to be bg500. If I refresh now, you can see the buttons here, but I want them on the right side here. To do that, we need to add one more class up here, flex. So now they are next to each other at least, and I want them on the same height. To do that, we say items-center, refresh, and then I just want to add all available space between these. Justify between. So we want to justify the content between the objects, and that's this object and this object. Great. Maybe we need some more spacing between these two buttons. Class space -x 6 and save. Much better. Okay, so I don't think we need to do anything more here yet. The index page will be changed later in the to-do list when we're going to list the URLs, and when you click these, that will be fixed in the next step, which will be implementing authentication. So we can set this to done. By the way, if you want to learn even more Django or Vue from me, you should check out my website codewithstein.com. The site has many premium courses and a lot of awesome blog posts. And for as little as $20 per month, you will get access to all of my content and you will be able to track your progress, you can talk to me and similar. So go to codewithstein.com after the video and sign up. Next step is to implement authentication. And to do that, I want to create one more Django app. So Python manage.py start app user. And I don't need to do anything to the database, so you can just run the server again. Go back to settings.py and add user to the installed apps list. And then we're going to create a form that we're going to use. So we are going to use a form that comes from Django, but I want to do some customization to this. So inside the user folder here, we create a new file called forms.py. And then we begin by importing a few things from Django. From Django, import forms. From Django.contrib.auth.forms, import user creation form. And this is a class from Django that makes it easy to create users. It's just that I want to change this a little bit. And from Django.contrib.auth.models import user. So then we use the built-in database model for the user. And then we can create the form that we are going to use. Class custom user creation form. And we want to extend or inherit the class called user creation form. And we just want to override a few things here. First, we can set the class meta for configuration. Oops. Class meta. The model we are going to use is user, which is the one we imported here. And the fields that we want to require the user to fill out is username. We want the email. We want the password 1. And the password 2, so we can have password repeat, and then add the comma at the end there. And I want this to be a required field. These are already required, but this isn't required by default from Django, so we need to just set email here equals forms.email field and set required equals true. And to make sure that everything works and the data is clean before it goes into the database, I want to create a method here, or override the built-in method called save self commit equals true, user equals super. So we call the parent class here custom user creation form self, and then we say save commit equals false. This means that when we call save here now, we are not committing anything to the database yet. Before we say user.email equals self.cleaned data email. And then we can check that if this is committed, if this is actually true. If commit, then user.save, because this is false when we, and then down here we just say return user and save. Next, we want to create a view that uses this form. This is just for storing things in the database, etc. And we want to have this in a file called forms.py because that's clean and that's the best practice to do this. Then we need a view for this. Can begin by importing a few more things here from Django.contrib.auth import login and authenticate, and then we then we create the view def sign up request. Then we need to see, is this post request? Then we know that the form has been submitted. If request.method equals post, then we create an instance of the form, which we have not imported yet. From .forms import custom user creation form. form equals custom user creation form, and just pass in request.post, which contains all of the information, and Django will fix the rest for us. Then I want to see if form.is valid, which means that all of the fields has been filled out and contains correct information, like that the passwords are matching and similar. And if everything is okay, we can say form.save to save the user in the database. And then we want to log in the user. So then we say username, because we need to get this from the form.cleaned_data.get username. Copy this for the raw password, and password 1 can just be called that here as well. And then we say user equals authenticate. So then we authenticate it and see if everything is okay, where username equals username, and the password equals password 1. Then if this is okay, then we can say login request user, and then the login or the user will be added to the request, and we can now assume that the user is logged in. And when that's done, we can say return redirect. We can just go to /, which is the front page, and I get a new warning here, it's not defined. This is a shortcut from Django. Redirect like that. And then if this is not a post request, which means that they're just visiting the page, now we can say form equals custom user creation form and empty instance. Now we just need to return and render the template. Return render request, and we want to use the template called user/signup.html, and here we can pass in the form, so this can be used in the template like that. Okay, so then we can create a simple template for this. So in the user here, create one more folder called templates, and in here user. So that's how we can now separate the core from this one, is that this has the app name inside there, and here we also have the app name signup.html, and this name here is the folder that's inside the templates folder. So we could say just signup.html and put the folder in the templates folder, but what if you had the signup.html file multiple places? Then that will cause Django to crash. That's why we separate this inside the apps, because technically I can say core and just load from the core folder here if I wanted to do that. Next step then will be to extend the core/base.html. You can set the title, the block title to be sign up, and then the content, block content, and the block, and save. Then we want a URLs file here as well, urls.py. Then we begin by importing the path from Django, from django.urls import path, and from .views import signup. From that, and we can set app name equals user, and then the URL patterns list. And when the path is signup / then we want to use the signup view, set the name to be signup. Then we can soon test this. I just want to go to the base.html file and activate this button. So I can say URL user:signup and save. And the cool thing when we are doing this instead of just saying sign up is that if I change this, then Django will automatically pick this up and fix the URLs for me, since we are not hard coding it. User is not a registered namespace. What? URLs, app name, user. Let's try to stop and start the server again. No. User, app name. Maybe it is because I have not imported it there, path. And then include user.urls. It's restarted, refreshed, and now it is working. Great. So now I want the title here saying sign up and then a simple form below there. So if I go back here now, I can say age 1, class, text 3XL, text purple 800 and font bold. Sign up. Great. And then below here I want to render the form. Form method needs to be set to post, and the action can just be the page we are on, like that. And then, since this is a post request, we need something called a CSRF token here, which stands for cross-site request forgery, which makes it then impossible for other domains and similar to post to this page. And to quickly render the form, we can just have form.as_p, and then we have a button below. Button type submit. Set the class to py4 px8 pg purple 700 and text white. Submit. If I go back and refresh now, you can see we've got the submit button and a form that Django renders for us. Password, blah blah blah. Okay, so let's try to create a user. CWS, code it Stein, and this can be enabled. Submit. And then I was redirected to the front page, which means that everything here in the views.py should be working. Great. Then we can just do one more change to the base.html. So instead of showing these two buttons when you are logged in, you can say if request.user.is authenticated, then we show one thing. If not, then we show these two buttons. And if we are authenticated, I much rather just show the add URL or add link button. Refresh. So now I know that I actually are authenticated. Perfect. Then we can jump right into the login page, which should be quickly because we want to use Django built-in functionality for this. Just go directly to urls.py in the user app. Then we import one thing from Django, from django.contrib.auth.views, import login view. Path, we want to use the path login, simple as that. Login view.asView. And we just need to set the template name to user/login.html. Name can be login. And then we can activate here this login here, URL user:login. Save, refresh. So if I now go to /login with the slash at the end, no. Name only accept arguments that already attribute of the class. Probably a typo here. Sorry, I should have that before and not there. So refresh again, or stop and start, and then refresh. Then I just get this template does not exist. That's good, because That means that everything is working, so we can make a copy of the sign up template, create a new file called login.html and paste the content here. Then we just say login instead of sign up, and the same with this one, login. Refresh, and now we have the default login here. And if I then try to log in with CWS and the password that I used, submit, then I was trying to be redirected to this. This is the default page that Django tries to redirect you to. We can set this or override this here. Login, redirect, URL equals user : login. And we can also set login URL, user login, and this should actually go to core index. So it goes to the front page when you are logged in, and it goes to this page if you are not logged in and try to visit the page you are not authenticated to use. Anyways, now we have authentication in the project. So let's go to the to-do list, set this to done. As I mentioned in the intro of this video, I will now implement a consent solution for cookies using a service called CookieBot. CookieBot can be used for free on up to 50 subpages per domain. It is fully customizable and really easy to implement. The reason why cookie consent is so important in, for example, the EU is that it helps you ensure that you are complying with the data privacy laws in the area your website is operating. It is important that this solution is easy to use for users and that the choices they are given are clear. I will add a link in the description below where you can read more information if you're interested. So I'm going to implement a simple solution from CookieBot. I've just signed in here and not done anything. I can just click domain and aliases. This is something that just takes a few minutes. linkrater.code with stein.com. It can just be something randomly like this. It doesn't need to be an actual page right now. Then we add domain. Go into this and scroll down and find the alias for testing. Here I add 127.0.0.1, add domain alias, and that's the URL that I get from there. So then I have that user consent logging. So I can now check easy who clicks the consent, who doesn't click it, etc. That will be stored here. And then I just need to go to implementation and copy a script. I want to use the embed CookieBot, yes, the CMP banner, and I want to use manual blocking. So I can just copy this line, go to base.html, scroll down to the bottom of body and paste it here. So if I save now, go back here and refresh, I get this banner here. This is sort of more of a modal. I want to change this a little bit. That's probably under configuration because I want this bar. Not the dialog, I want the bar. Design. We can have this dark. And here I can select which buttons I want, the content. Here I can override everything. For example, what statistics I have, marketing, etc. Privacy. Okay. Yes, let's try to save this. Maybe there. It was just because I had such a small screen. So when I zoom out, it comes up like a banner like that. Yes, if I want, I can show details. Perfect. Okay, allow all. I don't think this will show anywhere here. I use this, by the way, the GDPR. I see you have something similar in the US and Brazil and South Africa. I just use this one. Analytics doesn't show anything. I think it is because cookie consent not logged, and that's because I'm just doing this locally, so there's actually no reason for me to track this or log this. So now I can see the cookie settings here. Perfect. So let's close that for now. So that's how easy you can implement a cookie banner like this and follow your rules from EU. Just need to correct all of the information under configuration so that you know that everything is correctly, and follow the cookies you have on your site, for example Google Analytics, etc. So then I can go back to the to-do list and set this to done. Then we're going to go to the main event, which is to create a new Django app for the reviews and the links, or the links and the reviews. So just want to zoom in again so it looks good. I can close this for now and go back here. Sorry, I need to go to the terminal, stop, and then it's Python manage by start app link. I think that's a good name for this. And then I go into settings.py to add the link to the list of installed apps. I can just close that for now. And then I need to find the models.py in here so we can define the database models. We can begin with the one for the link, which is the simplest one. Class link models.model. Here I want a name. So for example, if I wanted to rate CookieBot.com, the name would be CookieBot. But for example, if I want to rate this course here, then I could set this to the name, and this will be the URL that people can easily visit. So we just need the name and the URL, so that's two fields here. Models.char field, max length can be 255, and URL equals models.url field, unique, true, so you don't have two identical URLs in the, or links in the database. And we can set up the string representation of this str so it looks better in the admin interface, and similar. Return self.name. Next I want to set up the model for the reviews because I want to review a link. Class review models.model, and here I want the reference up to this model here, so link equals models.foreign key. Link, set the related name to be reviews, so it's easy to get all of the reviews for one specific link. And on delete models.cascade, which means that when we delete a link, all of the reviews will also be deleted. Next I want to know who created this. So user equals models.foreign key to user. Related name can also be reviews, so it's easy to get all of the reviews for one specific user. And if a user is deleted, we want to delete all of the review that this user has created, so models.cascade. Then I get a warning here because this is not defined, so we need to import this from django.contrib.auth.models import user. And then the rating we want the user to be able to set, that's a character or star based from 1 to 5, equals models.integer field. And here we can set up validators to make this a little bit more advanced. Validators, min value validator 1, so we can't select anything lower than 1, and max value validator to 5. So I get two new warnings here because I have not imported this. This comes from the core of Django, so from django.core.validators import min value validator and max value validator. Next I want to also make it possible to write something and not just have a rating. So content equals models.text field, text field like that. And I want to know when this was created. So created at equals models.date time field. Auto now add is true. So when this is stored in the database, this will automatically be filled out by Django. Then we can have a string representation here as well. str self return, and here we want a formatted string. self.link.name, and the rating for this self.rating stars by self.user.username. Great. Let's try to update the database, see if everything is working. Python managed by make migrations. Yes, no errors. Python managed by migrate. Nice. Now we can just run the server again because we are not going to touch the database. Then, what does the to-do list say? We want to make it possible to add URLs. So we can create a form for this, or add list links. So I'm going to create a new form file, forms.py, and we need to import the forms from Django. From Django import forms, and from .models import a link and review. Class link form, forms.model form is what we're going to use here. And we can set up the class meta for configuration, define the model we're going to use, which is link, which fields we are going to use, name and link, sorry, URL, and save. Then we need a view for this, so let's go to views.py. We can create a view and import as we go. Def add link request, and I want the user to be authenticated to use this here, so we can add a decorator called login required. So you need to import this from django.contrib.auth.decorators import login required. And then we do the same thing as with the sign up. We check if the request method is post, then we know that the form has been submitted. Form equals link form. That has not been imported yet. .forms import link form. Request.post, and Django will fix the rest for us here. You need to see if it is valid. If so, we can say link equals form.save. And then I want to redirect us to the detail page of this, but we don't have that yet. So right now we can just return redirect slash, and we need to import this shortcut. Oops. Redirect, and also handle if it is a get request. Form equals link form. We just create an empty instance of that. Return render request, link slash add.html. So add link, and now we pass in the form so we can render this in the template. Then we need the template for this, templates, and a new folder called link, and a new file in there called add link.html. This will also be more or less just identical with the sign up form and login form, so we can just copy everything here and paste. Rename the titles to be add link. So we just rendered the form just like we did there. Then we need to add the URLs file for this, urls.py from django.urls import path, from .views import add link, app name should be set to link. Then we set up the URL patterns, path add dash link slash Maybe we should just say add links. We can just say add. We can make this a little bit clean. And then we say here add link, set the name to be add dash link. Actually, I think we need underscore here, like that. Then we need to add this to the main URLs, which is in link rater, URLs there, path, add it below here as a path, and all links that begins with links should go in there. So include link.urls. So the URL for the add page will be links slash add slash, then it will use this one. Nice. Then before we test this, just go to base.html and activate this button, URL link colon add link. So if I then go here, refresh, click add link, I can here fill out these two here. Perfect. Maybe we should use some styling to this because it's not particularly beautiful. So if we find the forms.py again, here we can do some changes. We can say widgets equals, create a dictionary, name, and then we say forms.text input. That's how we set this. Attrs for attributes equals class, and the class I want to use here is py for px6 pg slate 100. Yes, let's try this, see if that works. Yes, that looks a little bit better. Maybe we should have a border on it, so border and border slate 300. So that's a little bit better, it's at least easier to see this. And w-full, oops, fills out the whole screen and adds it to a separate line. Perfect. And then just empty 2 for margin top 2, so I have some space between these. Perfect. Then I can copy this, do the same thing for the URL field, but this needs to be URL field and not the text input. Then just need to add a comma there. Go back, refresh. That did not work. Unexpected attributes, URL field, it's URL input, sorry. Okay, stop and start again, refresh, and now it is working. Then we just need some more spacing below this here. We can say mb-6, and this here can also get class space-y4, which adds space between all of the elements inside here, which is these two and the buttons. Nice. Let's try adding one. Code with Stein, https://code with stein.com, submit. Then I was redirected to the front page, which means that it looks like everything is working. Perfect. So then I can go to the to-do list, set this to done. Next, I want to list all of the available links on the front page of. So if I go to views.py in the core app, then I can first begin by importing the link model from link.models import link, and then we get all of the links by saying links equals link.objects.filter, no, all. And then we need to make this available in the template, links, and save. Now we just need to do some customization here. So how do we want to list out the links? Should it be in boxes, should it be in a table, or what? I think I want to have it in some sort of table or a grid system. So let's create a grid, div class grid calls 3 gap 3. And then first we can say div class py6 px8 font bold bg purple 700 text white, title or name, and then I want to have one more for the URLs or the URL, and maybe we should have one for the score. So paste this, or rating, like that. Let's see what this looks like. Great. Maybe we shouldn't have spacing between these. That's better. And then below here I just want to list out the links. If we set this to 10, we can do some changes here. Col span 2, col span 6, and col span 1. I'll set this to 3. Just to fix the sizings here a little bit. And then below here we can loop through all of the links that we have in the database. So for link in links, and for make a copy of this. Here we do not need to set the background color or the text, but we can use the, and this can be set to 3, so it's a little bit lower. Perfect. Then here we say link.name, next line link.url, and link.getRating. This will give an error, or actually nothing, but you have the name and the URL. And then you just need to fix this. So if you go to link mols there, we can create a new method here called def getRating self total score equals 0 for review in reviews. Then we say total score plus equals review.rating, return total score, and divide this by the number of reviews we have. So here we can say review self.reviews.count, and this should also be self.reviews, just point to this one here. If self.reviews.count, because we only want to do this if there actually is anyone. If not, we can just return 0. You can say it like this, return 0. Yes. So we don't have any rating yet, no reviews, maybe that's better. Yes, I think that's a little bit easier to understand, no reviews. Like that. Okay, so that's how we list them out. Let's add one more. Google, https://google.com. So now we have more than one here. Perfect. Then we can go back here to set this to done, because now we can list links. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. And then we say detail page, because we want to make it possible to click this to see the detail page where we can actually see all of the reviews. So we can create the view for that. Let's have that on the top here, because that should not require the authentication. Def detail request pk, because here we need the primary key or the ID of the URL. Link equals get object or 404 link. We want to use this here, and pk equals pk. Got a lot of warnings here. First, import this shortcut from Django, and then we can import this model from .models import link. So what this does now is that it checks if there is a link with, or the primary key is what we have up in the URL. If not, we will get a 404 error. Then we can say return render request link / detail.html, and here we just want to pass in the link like this. Then we need to create the detail page, which should be quite simple. Let's copy this here, and in there we say detail.html. Here we can show the link.name up in the browser tab and the block. How did I set the title? That's the only thing I want to copy there. Link.name. Before I add anything more here, I just want to test and see that this is working. So on the index page here, we can create a wrapper around this here, which will link to that page. href URL link : detail, and to pass in the primary key or the ID, we can say link.id or link.pk. Then we close this anchor tag behind the name. This will give an error now because no reverse for detail is found. So let's add that here. Now below here, yes, path. And when we get the integer here called primary key, we want to use the detail view. Detail name detail. So this pk here is the same as we have here. You can call it whatever you want, but pk makes sense. So you can refresh now. Now I can click this, see code it's Stein here. Then I want to print the URL below the title. P class text slate 600 link.url. Perfect. And below here we can also show the score. So let's say span class font bold URL. Make a copy of this. Oops. Link.get rating and rating. No reviews. Okay, so now we know how to show the detail page. Below here I want to list out all of the reviews if there are any, and I want to have a button here to add your review. So below here we can say href, it can just be empty for now, class. Let's copy this from one of the buttons up in the menu. Add review, and just add the inline block class here as well, like that. Maybe some space up, empty -6, like that. Okay, so that's the detail page, as easy as this can get. So we can set this to done. Then we want to make it possible to add reviews. So we need one more form. Class review form, forms.model form. Then we need a class meta, of course. Set the model to be review. The fields we want here is rating and content. The rest needs to be filled out by us. And we can add styling to this as well. Widgets. We want to do this for the rating field, which is forms.number input. Atters, and then we just copy this one, comma, and one for the content, which is a forms.text area, and the classes should be the same here. Oops, one too many of that one. Forms.text area. Hope it's white, but I hope it is correct. Let's save this. Did you mean text area with a lowercase? Yes. Perfect. Thank you, command line. Okay, so now we have the form for this. So now we create the view inside the correct views.py file. This should also have a login required. Def add review request, and here I do want to know the primary key of the link we are adding the review for, pk. So now we can get this from the database just like we did up there. And then we check if the form has been submitted. Let's just import this review form. Then we can say form equals review form, paste in or pass in the request to post data. If form is valid, then we say review review equals form dot save commit equals false. And the reason why we can't commit this to the database yet is because these need to be filled out by us, because it will just crash in the database otherwise. So review dot link equals link, I think that's what I called it, link, yes. And the same for the user, review dot user equals request dot user. Then I can say review dot save. After that I can redirect us to the detail page. So return redirect, and I want to redirect us to the page called link : detail, and I want to pass in the primary key pk equals pk. So I just take the one that I have up here. This can also be done up here now, and I don't need this, like, yes, I need it here, sorry, link.pk. And the same, if this is not a post request, then it's a form equals review form, and then we return and render. So we can just copy these lines from up here, add review and save. Now we make a copy of this template, save it as add underscore review.html, review and review. Then we need to add this to the URLs. So copy the bottom line here and import add review. It should be on the other side here, add review, and add, so add review and add review. So now we know that the URL is links / then an identifier here called primary key, and add at the bottom at the end there, so you know that we're going to add a review to this. Then if I go into detail here, we can activate this link URL link : add underscore review, pass in link.pk and save. Refresh, so add review, and then I can only go, okay, let me try to submit this now, see what happens. Ensure this value is less than or equal to 5. Perfect. Which means that we are getting automatic validation from Django. Awesome. Courses on Django. Submit. Related manager object is not iterable. Get rating is not working now. Okay, so why is this not working? Get rating. Models.py get rating. Need to set .all here to get all from the database. So now the rating is 4. Okay, and then I just want to list out all of the reviews at the bottom here. So let's go to detail, and below here HR class my6, so get a space bar or horizontal ruler there, and h2 class text XL font bold, text purple 800, MB-6, reviews, yes, and then for review in link.reviews.all, so we get it from the database automatically by saying this. Close the end4, and then in here we create a new div class py4px6. We can set the background to be bg purple 100, and MB-4, so it has some spacing below if there are more than one review. At the top in here we can say h3 class font bold, text purple 800, and then review.username, and which score he gave, he or him or she or whatever. Rating, no, sorry, MT-4, and you can copy this, so we have font bold in there, rating, and review rating, and below here we can show the review or the content itself, so MT-6 review.content. Nice. Okay, there should not be that much. Review.username, call it Stein. It's probably should be a little bit bigger. Text-XL. Great, and this can be text XS, so it's very small. Perfect. Maybe it doesn't need the margin top, like that. Okay, so that was a very simple yet effective tutorial on how to build a link creator using Django with the CookieBot implementation and authentication and everything you need to build a simple Django website. Hope you liked this course, and if you did, please hit like below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I will answer as soon as I can. See you in the next video.